ISIS bride Shamima Begum will find out tomorrow if she's won or lost an appeal against the removal of her British citizenship.
You'll remember the story. She travelled to Syria at the age of 15 in 2015. She was born in the UK and lived here all her life, but her parents have Bangladeshi heritage. Her citizenship was removed in 2019 on the grounds of national security.
We're joined by filmmaker and author Andrew Drury, who has interviewed Shamima Begum several times, and Shoaib Khann, a human rights lawyer specialising in asylum immigration-related cases. Andrew, you've spoken previously about, you did this documentary and you said, I started off with a very open mind. You've lost sympathy. Can I just say before we start, this is a very, very contentious issue. A lot of people have an opinion. You know, was she young? Should her parents have done more? Is it our responsibility? You know her. What's your take on this, my friend?
When I first met her, I mean, it was on a day off from filming a documentary, not about her. So, I mean, obviously she's of interest. And I wanted to speak to her because other journalists have been turned away. And I kind of want to sort of spite the face of them. I wanted to know what she was really about. I met this waif-looking girl, looked scared, looked hot, looked frightened. And when I interviewed her, she was very apologetic. She thought she had done wrong. And I actually, at that time, I did actually feel sorry for her. I really did. And I left the camp and we continued to have conversations via phone after that. And then over a period of 2 years, I think I changed my mind.
Why?
Why, yeah.
After a series of text messages, the fact is, I asked her, she showed me a picture of her children. I was probably one of the only people that actually saw them. And I thought it was really sad. I mean, I had a brother die when I was young, so I know what it's like to lose kids. And her text replied to me saying, I'm really sorry about your children. I really felt quite upset when I saw the pictures. And she said, don't worry, I'm over that now. And that, to me, that kind of categorised what sort of person she was. She really didn't have many feelings. She was blank most of the time I saw her. And then she started to play me from the 2 years I met her. Bit by bit, little by little, she wanted more and more. And I started to learn more about her character. And from the point that I met her, when she was kind of apologetic, she started to turn into this character that was really just a victim. She turned from somebody that understood what she did to a victim by the time I'd left and stopped speaking to her.
To what extent was some of that a product of where she is? I mean, we should sort of paint the scene. Where she's been living is, I mean, it's awful.
Yeah, I don't see as that's got a point to anything. She put herself there. So, you know, she's not stupid. She wasn't a stupid woman. She wasn't a 15-year-old child that everybody portrays her to be. She was probably the instigator of those other girls going, along with another girl.
It's very interesting, actually, and it's important that we listen to both sides of the argument. We also have with us, I can't find the Shoaib Khann, a human rights lawyer specialising in asylum and immigration-related cases. Shoaib, you'll understand that people in this country are furious, and this is one of these stories that garnered such a reaction. Andrew there says he knows her. Your view?
Yeah, hi. To be honest, I mean, I just think, I mean, there's lots of points here. Firstly, is just the principle. I think I'm against revocation of citizenship. Just as, you know, just in principle, I don't really care about the particular cases, but even in this specific case. So firstly, I mean, just look at, you know, what is revocation of citizenship or deprivation of citizenship like in this case? This is basically, you know, like we used to have in medieval times, you know, banishing someone or exiling someone. We just don't have those punishments or penalties anymore. And, you know, we shouldn't.
Do you believe that this girl should be forced to come back to the United Kingdom, hear me out, and face punishment under our judicial system for what she did? Or are you one of those people who thinks we should just let her back in and give her a new identity? What's your view?
No, of course she needs to be punished. If she's committed a crime, she needs to be punished, but under our system. I mean, like you just said in the introduction, she was born here, bred here, raised here, schooled here, everything here. You know, whether we think the government's responsible or the intelligence is responsible or her parents or society or the community.
Have you seen, my friend, have you seen, and Andrew's shaking his head, have you seen some of the videos that she took part in? And I know, Andrew, when we started this conversation, people will quite rightly say she was 15, was she pliable? You won't have that, though.
No, I won't have that. She wasn't. She plotted and planned her exit. And you talk about citizenship, she gave her citizenship up. It wasn't taken away from her. She did. She walked, as soon as she left this country and joined an illegal organisation, she gave up her citizenship at that point. She didn't want to be British. And that's a fact. And also, crimes were committed against the Syrian people. Perhaps if you spent time in Raqqa and met people that are in these camps that were the victims of what Shamima actually and what she did, she was probably Hizbah, and she most definitely, there's evidence of suicide vests. She has no use for us in this country.
Shoaib, it would be good to understand from your perspective what kind of in law responsibility does a 15-year-old have to be responsible for their own actions?
I mean, so obviously she is above the age of criminal responsibility, but I still think the fact that she is a child, in terms of penalties, in terms of the punishment we would give out, that would be different for an adult. You know, even the most serious crimes, and some of them, you know, even in the past year or two, became quite controversial when people committed crimes as children, and then 10, 15 years later on, they're being released. We've seen that in terms of controversies with the probation board and so on.
But
that's what we do in this country.
If you take Andrew's view, and I haven't met her, Andrew Drury has. Andrew Drury said that initially he was sympathetic. He would understand her character. Your opening gambit was, I don't know this woman, I just know the law. I understand what you're saying about the law, but is Andrew's point relevant that actually, in this case, the law doesn't need to bend? The woman went, made her decisions, was responsible for some horrific things, being part of it, I guess, as Andrew says. Is there a case in that situation where the law should be bent, the law should be changed? I don't know.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. I mean, firstly, I'm saying I think the law is wrong. If in fact it turns out the Court of Appeal agrees with what the government did, the government was correct, and in this situation, that citizenship could have been revoked legally, I think that law is wrong. I think we shouldn't have citizenship deprivation, particularly for people, wherever their parents are from, people born in the UK. I think, and that's why it's a two-tier system. The whole point is, why can her citizenship be revoked? Because her parents have Bangladeshi heritage. If they hadn't been, then exact same situation, two schoolgirls, Bethnal Green, East London, all of that, exact same lives, both of them go there. She would have lost hers. If there was another white girl, you know, no foreign heritage in the parents, they would have come back.
So you think this is because of her colour? Andrew, your response to that quickly?
What a load of utter nonsense. What utter nonsense. She didn't want to be British. She didn't want to. She left the country not wanting to be British. She lived in an Islamic community and society. She wasn't rejection. She wasn't bullied. She had no racist against her. She just didn't want to be part of this country. That's what she didn't want to do. Sorry,
but I don't understand what that means. Firstly, couldn't we say that for anyone who commits a serious criminal offence? If you're raping or murdering or anything else, you don't want to be part of British society.
That's
anyone
not what
who's
I said.
protesting against the government.
She left this country to join Islamic State. She didn't want to be British.
Listen, gentlemen, I could.
But even if she didn't,
I hate to do this because I could spend more time, as could Rosie. This will be a decision that's taken tomorrow. There'll be more on the Breakfast Show tomorrow. But thank you for now, filmmaker Andrew Drury and human rights lawyer Shoaib Khann. Thank you both very much indeed. Still